All right, in this video, we are going to be showing you how to cut your cardstock for the Sweet Memories card making workshop. And the first piece that we're going to start out with is going to be the Mink cardstock. So sorry about the sunlight coming through. Um, Follow along with me though, okay? We'll be good. So the first thing we're going to be doing is putting your cardstock in your trimmer. And the first cut that we're going to be making is 2.5 inches. So let's cut you a strip of 2.5 inches. Okay, and then turn that piece of cardstock sideways, and we're going to cut 4 pieces at 3 inches. So one, that out of the way, two, and hopefully I'll go slow enough for you so that you can follow along with me, or if you're watching the replay. And then this last piece should be 3 inches. I need to put some lotion on my fingers, you guys. So, and it is. Okay, so you got 4 pieces. And let's label those. Those are going to be 2G. So 2G. So that's a little stack of some 2Gs there. Find you an empty space to start a new stack there. And then with your cardstock back in your trimmer, we're going to cut 2.5 inches. So cut it down 2.5 inches all the way. And we're going to be cutting 4 more at 3 inches. So turn the cardstock sideways. And let's cut 4 more pieces that are 3 inches wide. And this one should already be 3 inches, which it is. These are going to be 4E. So let's get a stack of some 4Es going. Find you an empty spot to stack those. With your cardstock back in your trimmer, let's cut 1/2 inches. Put your paper back in. Let's cut a 1/2 inch strip. Let's go ahead and cut another 1/2 inch strip. I'm going to combine 2 steps in one here. So cut another 1/2 inch strip. Let's pull that out. Both of these strips, you can cut them individually, or you can basically put them one on top of each other. Just make sure they're literally one on top of each other, because now you're going to be cutting 4 5.5 inch strips. Okay, so keep them together. If you're cutting these together, sure it doesn't go anywhere at the end there. So you got 2 pieces there. I don't know. It might be easier to cut them individually. I'm just trying to save a little time, but I don't know that it's really saving any time. So you got 2 pieces. All right, so now overall you have 4 pieces at 5.5 inches. And then these 2 little pieces that are left, those are scrap. So it might be easier to cut them individually because it wanted to buckle there at the end, but that might just be because my hands were kind of dry as well. So you got 4 pieces that are 5.5 inches by 1/2 inch wide. These are 3A, and I don't think we have a stack of 3A that I can see. So let's create a stack of 3A. And those pieces will be 3A. Get that going over there. All right. By the way, I meant to say this at the beginning. On your cardstock, I am cutting the light side. If you accidentally cutted the dark side, I'm sorry about that. I should have said that from the very beginning. But I am cutting the light side. And it's very, very subtle, but there are 2 different colors to each of the cardstocks. Okay. One side is light, kind of like this one. And let me see if I can bend this back just a little bit. The other side is like another shade darker. It might be hard to see in this particular light, but there are two sides. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I might have accidentally cut the dark side. But anyway, your cards are going to be gorgeous. Make sure that you're cutting the lighter side of the cardstock. And on all of these papers that we're going to be doing, it is the light side that we're cutting. Okay, so this actually is the lighter side. And what I was cutting is the darker side. And I don't know if you can see the difference between there and there, but there is a difference. Okay, but honestly, either side that you cut, your cards are going to be gorgeous. So just anyway, if that's a big detail for you, even though it's a minor color difference, I should say that at the very beginning, that all the sides that we're going to be cutting are the lighter sides. Okay. So what you have left is we're going to be cutting for our die cuts. Okay. So this piece that's left, let's put this back in our trimmer, and we're going to be cutting 3 inches. Let's cut a 3-inch strip, and then turn your cardstock sideways and cut a 3-inch. So we're going to be cutting 4 of those. Okay. So let's cut 4 pieces that are 3 by 3. 3 by 3. And then the last one. These pieces are going to be for die cuts. So you can, or your thin cuts. Sorry, I keep calling them die cuts, but they're thin cuts. And let's label these P1. P1. And I'm just looking to make sure I don't have a P1 already, which I don't. Okay. I'm going to put these up beside my P2 stack that I got going up here. Hopefully you've got some good space for your stacks. The last piece, we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to be cutting 2 1/4 inches. And we're going to be cutting 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and 2 1/4. Okay. And then those pieces that we just cut, those are P3. And I see that we already have a P3 stack. So I'm going to put those with my P3s. This piece that's left is a scrap. All right, so now we're going to be cutting on the piece of mulberry. And let me make sure I'm cutting the lighter side, which, let's see. That is my lighter side. I had to take it out of the light to see it. The first cuts that we're going to be doing is put your cardstock in. We're going to be cutting 2 1/2 inches. I'll cut you a 2 1/2 inch strip there. And I need to make sure that I am going, there we go, all the way to the top. Turn your cardstock sideways, and we're going to be cutting 3 pieces at 4 inches. So you got 3 pieces that are 2 1/2 inches by 4 inches. This is 4A. And I don't see a 4A. 4A. So we're gonna start a stack. If I happen to mess up somewhere with my stacks, I'll figure this out later when I'm assembling. So get you a stack of some 4As there. Put this cardstock back in your trimmer, and we're gonna cut another 2 1/2 inch strip. Turn it sideways, and we're gonna be cutting 3 more at 4 inches. So cut 3 more pieces, 4 inches. And one of these is 4A. So let's put that in our stack of 4A that we just cut. 2 of these are going to be 4B. So let's go ahead and start a 4B. I don't have a 4B. I got a 4B. Set that next to my 3Bs. Okay, let's get our cardstock back in our trimmer. We're going to cut another 2 1/2 inch strip. Turn it sideways, and we're going to cut 3 of them at 4 inches. I'm sorry, 2. All right, just 2 of them at 4 inches. Both of these go to 4B where we just cut. So we have our little stack there. This piece that's left, we're going to cut this at 3¼ inches. 3¼ inches. This is 1D. 1D. And I don't see a stack for 1D. I see 2D. Okay, so 1D. I got a lot of stacks going here, guys. 1D. So that means that we're going to have some more of that. This little piece that's left is scraps. Okay, so hopefully you have a nice little scrap pile. Put your paper back in your trimmer and cut it at 2½ inches. So a 2½ inch strip. Turn that piece sideways. And these are going to be the, we need 3¼ So these are going to be 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 of them at 3¼ Double check here. Okay, and then these 3 pieces that we just cut that are 2½ by 3¼ these are the other pieces that you need for 1D. Okay, so put those with 1D. This piece that's left is scrap. Now this piece that you have left, we're going to be cutting these down for some die cuts. Okay, so you have exactly a 2-inch strip that's left. Turn it sideways, and we're going to be cutting 4 pieces at 3 inches. So we're going to be using all of this mulberry. Okay, these are all P2. And do I have a P2? I do have a P2. So I'm going to put these in my P2 stack up here. Okay, so those are going to be for die cuts. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. When in your instructions, because this was also in when we did the Mink as well, when we were doing the instructions, the P's that we are cutting, those are for projects. Project 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. It will show you a picture. So you can see that pretty good. It will show you a picture of the die cut you're going to be using. Okay, so that, you know, that way you just use what you need on the cardstock for that particular die cut. Okay, just to show you that. All right, the next piece we're going to be cutting is the mist cardstock. So this color, and let me make sure what side I'm cutting is the light side. We're going to be using the light side. The first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting a strip at 3¾ inches. So put your cardstock in, make your first cut at 3¾ inches. Turn it sideways and cut 1 piece at 5 inches. So this piece right here goes to 1A. Do I have a 1A? I'm looking at my stacks. I don't think I have a 1A. What is that one? That one's P2. All right, so let's start a 1A stack. I see a 2A. Okay, that's for 1A. We'll get that stack going there. Now, this piece of cardstock that was in there, turn it back up and down, portrait, and let's cut 2¾ inches. Okay, and then turn it sideways and cut 1, 2, 3 pieces at 2¼ So 1, 2¼ and scooch that over to 2¼ because we're cutting 3 of them. Oh, my hands are so dry, you guys. I might have to stop and put some lotion. These 3 pieces that we just cut, I know we don't have a stack for that. That is 2H. 2H. I need to get some smaller Post-its, like the real small ones. I know I have some around here. And let me do this really, really quick because this might help with grasping on to some of that. Hopefully I have enough of this in here. I do have a little bit. My Mary Kay lady would be so happy. I am using her Satin Hands Nourishing Shea Cream. I need to put a little bit of hydration on this. Working with paper can really dry your hands out. So make sure you put a little lotion on them. I'm sure that'll also help with the grip as well. Put that back. You take a little lotion break there. All right, so these pieces that are left, let me make sure I got any excess off my hands. These two pieces right here, those are scraps. So set those aside. Now, put your paper back in your trimmer, your mist cardstock, and let's cut a 2 3/4 inch strip. Okay, turn it sideways, and we're going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 2 1/4. So cut 5 pieces at 2 1/4. Oh, that lotion helped. The poor cat's getting terrorized in the other room. It's the kitten. He just wants to play, and the older cats are like, no, we don't want to play. All right, so we got 5 pieces. Those are, so one of these, I said all of them, one of these is 2H, which is the one we just cut, and the other 4 are 3D. And I'm looking around to see, do I have a 3D? I see a 1, a 2, a 4. I don't think I have a 3D. I'm just making sure. No, I don't. Okay. So we'll create a 3D stack. I'm going to get better about labeling here. And honestly, I don't know. I had just had a thought in my mind about doing something a little bit more permanent so that I don't have to write those every single time I do a video. This little piece that's left, I just saw it. It's a scrap. Okay, so put that in your scrap pile. Now put your cardstock back in your trimmer. We're going to be cutting a 5-inch strip here. So cut you a 5-inch strip. I think y'all might know where this is going with this one. And then turn it sideways and cut it at 3 3/4. One, we're going to cut 3 of them. 3 3/4. Cut 3 of them at 3 3/4. Can anybody guess where these are going? We cut a piece a while ago. All 3 of these are going to 1A. Okay, we cut one piece a while ago with that dimension. And now these are the other 3 pieces. Because remember, each one of our cards has 4 pieces. So all of these little stacks at least have 4 pieces, not including the projects, basically, which are the die cuts that we'll be making. But these 2 pieces that are left, oh, they're scrap. Scrap it. Scrap it. All right, so now we're on the last piece of cardstock. And so we got 2 pieces of white daisy. Grab one. Both sides are the same, so you don't have to worry about that. So the first cut that we're going to be making is at 1 1/2 inches. So put your cardstock in your trimmer there and cut. Let's go ahead and cut 2 strips at 1 1/2 inches. I'm going to combine steps here. So put your 2 strips at 1 1/2 inches. And I'm not going to double these up, so I don't have to worry about, but anyway, like I did when I cut 2 the first time. Put 1 piece in your side, and we're going to cut down to 5 inches. You want 2 pieces at 5 inches. Just set those aside. I'm going to pull that off to the side. I'm going to take the other piece, since I'm already on a 5-inch streak here. We're going to cut 2 more pieces at 5 inches. These 4 pieces that we just cut that are 1 1/2 inches, by 5 inches, these are all 3C. Where's my 3C stack? I'm looking. Got 2C, I see 4C, 1C. I don't see a 3C. All right. 3C. 3C. Only 3C. All right, put your cardstock back in your, I'm sorry, these two little pieces right here. Let's mess with these two little pieces. We already know they're 1.5 inches wide. Turn it sideways, and oh, we're not going to have any scraps. So these two pieces right here that are left after we cut those strips, these are P1. Do I have a P1? I do have a P1 way up here. So put those in your stack of P1s. Now put your cardstock back in your trimmer. We're going to cut 3 3/4 inches. Turn it sideways, and we're going to be cutting 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to be cutting 4 pieces at 4 inches. Had to look at that. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, 4 pieces. I'm sorry, 2 pieces. 4 inches. Technically, it's 3 pieces. Okay, so just cut 3 pieces at 4 inches. What's a little confusing, and I had to double check, is each one of these pieces right here is enough for 2 die cuts back to back. Okay, this is P2 and this is P2. So these first 2 cuts, put those in P2, and I'm looking for my P2 stack, which is right up here. This last piece right here is P4. So where's your P4 stack? I don't know that I have a P4 stack. I'm making sure. P4, I don't see a P4. So start your P4 stack. I'm still looking just to make sure. P4. Okay. Put your cardstock back in your trimmer, and we're going to be cutting a strip at 2 inches. I'll cut a 2-inch strip there. And we're going to extend our arm out because this piece, okay, hold on, having a little issue here with my extending my arm. There we go. It's just a little hard there. Put that piece in your trimmer, and we're going to be cutting a strip at 7 inches. This piece right here is going to P4. And this is going to be a piece that is big enough to put 2 die cuts or thin cuts side by side. So put that in P4. This last strip is a 5-inch strip. This one goes to P3, which is right here in front of me. So P3. Okay. This last piece that's left should be a 3 1/4 inch piece, which it is. We're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to cut 2 of them at 6. So we're going to cut this. So you got 2 pieces that are 6 inches. These are both P4. So put these in your P4 stacks. These are going to be for die cuts, thin cuts. I keep wanting to call them die cuts. I mean, they are die cuts, but close to my heart calls them thin cuts. Okay, I'm going to close that back up there. Okay. So now we're going to be cutting the last piece of white daisy cardstock. Just so you can see what I'm doing, we are on page 4 of our cutting part of the tutorial, and that's what we're going to be doing. So grab your other piece of white daisy, and our first cut is going to be at 3 1/2 inches. So cut you a strip 3.5 inches. Turn it sideways, and we're going to cut two pieces at 4. So 2 pieces at 4. These are for everything that we're doing here is going to be basically for projects, which is going to be cutting the thin cuts. These 2 pieces are for P1. So put those in your P1 stack over there. And this last cut that was left is your P3. So put that in your P3 stack. So keep in mind, everything that we're cutting right now is really going to be for all of your thin cuts. Okay, so we're just cutting them large enough to where you have the exact size that you need in order for you to cut the thin cuts for that particular card. Your next cut is going to be at, I believe that's 2.5 inches. So cut you a 2.5 inch strip there. And you need a 3.5 inch piece. The top, bear with me here. So this piece goes to P2 and P4. So I got my P2 and P4. It's basically, let's just cut this in half. What is half of 3.5? Some of you might know what that is. So 3.5 divided by 2 is 1.75. Let's just cut this piece 1 3/4. We're going to cut it in half. Okay. Put 1 in P2 and 1 piece in P4. These are for 2 long thin cuts, okay, that you'll be stamping on. That was a little confusing. Sorry about that, but hopefully you're still following me. This piece that we just cut off of, we're going to be cutting another one at 4 inches. Actually, these last 2 pieces that are left should be, nope, they're not. Cut another one at 4 inches. So 2 of them at 4 inches. Both of these go to P4. Okay, both of these. And this is enough to where you can put 2 thin cuts side by side. So those will go to P4. This little piece that just fell off, that is scrap. And put your paper back in your trimmer. This might get a little bit more confusing again because it's doing the same thing. 2.5 inches. If I ever stop and pause, and I'm like, it's because I'm looking at something and trying to determine how I want to take the next step before we do any cutting. Because the last thing I want you to do is cut it wrong. That would be horrible. So cut your first cut at 3.5 inches. Turn it sideways. 3.5 inches. We're going to cut 3 of them at 3.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the cuts first. Cut 3 pieces at 3.5, and then we're going to go back and do something different. So your first piece, we're going to cut this back into 1 3/4 again. So keep one of those pieces in there sideways. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. One of them goes to P1, which is up there. One of them goes to P3, which is right in front of me. Take another one and do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing to all 3 of these. I'm sorry, just the 2, and then the other one's going to be in 2 different stacks. So one of these goes to P1, and one goes to P3. This last piece, go ahead and cut that as well at 1 3/4. One of them goes to P2, and one goes to P4. So there's my P4 stack, and there's my P2 stack. This little piece right here is scrap. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. Put your cardstock back in your trimmer, and the cut is going to be 1 1/4. Okay, turn it sideways. We're going to cut 4 of them at 1, 2. I'm sorry, 2.5 inches. Don't cut yet. Don't cut yet. Don't cut until I cut. So it's 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. I'm sorry, 2.5. 2.5. Oh my goodness. I need glasses. Actually, I do have glasses. Cut 1, 2, 3, 4 at 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. And 2.5. Okay. 2 of those go to P3. Where's my P3s? That's P1, P2, P3s right in front of me, Barbara. Put the other 2, sorry about that. Put the other 2 to P4. Oh my goodness, you guys. This piece right here is scrap. And guess what? This last piece is also scrap. So yay! Y'all, I have so many pieces. I have so many little stacks all over that you cannot see. But that is all of the cutting that you need for your, that's all the cutting. So basically in your, let's spend just a minute here, in your Sweet Memories card making workshop, all of these little diagrams, all of these diagrams that start on page 2 and go to, there's one on page 4. I'm going to have to do something about my lighting because that sun coming through when I record these in the morning is driving me nuts, you guys. But all of the cutting that we just did is all of the diagram cutting. Okay, now I will do a separate video to help you understand as you're looking at each diagram. I'm going to break it down a little bit because until you get into the rhythm of cutting paper and looking at the diagrams and understanding all your little stacks, it can get a little confusing. Okay, but that's why I'm doing this video. All right, so hopefully the cutting part you understood a little bit more because this is how I'm going to be doing it going forward. Not just for the card making workshop, but also for the scrapbooking kit as well. So now I'm not going to be doing them right now because I'm going to be demonstrating them in a live on Sunday, December 31st. So New Year's Eve, yay, at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can join me at Barbara's Stamp Pad, whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube. And we're going to be assembling these. So this will be the video that will show you how to put all that stack of everything that we just cut, in addition to using your card bases. We're going to be assembling the cards. So beginning on page 5 of your tutorials, your printed tutorials that came with your kit, we're going to be assembling. Okay, now let me just show you something real quick. It shows you the completed card, shows you the materials that you need in order to do that card as designed. But look at this piece down here. I'm going to try to get it to where you don't have any sunlight on it. But do you see all the 1A, 1B, 1D, 1C? You see all those? Those are the pieces that you need for those cards. So as you're assembling each particular card, you can pull your 4 pieces of 1A, your 1B, your 1Ds, your 1Cs, and then you'll know. But what I would suggest doing in the next step is you can do your thin cuts as you do each card, if that will help you, so that you can eliminate all the stacks of little cardstock or paper that's in each stack. I'm going to go ahead, before my video, I'm going to go ahead and do all of my thin cuts so that it goes a little quicker when it goes to assembling. But just keep that in mind when you are looking at the tutorials or you're watching the cutting videos. And once you get to the point where you're ready to assemble your cards, go ahead and I'm going to suggest to go ahead and get all your die cutting out of the way, but it's really a preference of kind of how your mind works. For me, my mind works better getting all my die cuts out of the way so that I'm ready and I can just stamp and assemble. But hopefully you can join me for the assembly part, and hopefully this cutting video helped. I'm going to find a better way to do my labeling and see if there's something that's a little bit more easier with some smaller post-it notes even maybe. But anyway, but I thought that was really interesting that those are all the scraps that you have left. So, but you can still make some pretty neat things with those, or hold them on to some, if you need a scrap piece of something for something else that you might be doing on another project, you can definitely hold on to those. So hopefully this cutting video helped, and we will see you all on the live. Thank you.